If you're coming to this video off the back of a substantial gambling loss, or if you've recently experienced a substantial gambling loss, or if you are in the very early stages of recovery and you are taking stock of the financial position you have left yourself in because of a lasting gambling addiction, sometimes this can be incredibly daunting. But I want to say thank you for clicking on this video, and hopefully what I talk about today will resonate and maybe put you on a path to a better future. I would of course say that everything I'm going to talk about is purely my opinions and based on my experience and my experience of talking to others. So take it with as big a pinch of salt as you like. But like I say, if you are finding yourself in a substantially compromised financial position because of your gambling, then maybe this won't all be bad news, and maybe I can help put a positive slant on it today and help set you on to the right path of recovery. I know when you watch a stand-up comedian, most of them start with, I was walking down the street the other day, or I was in the shop the other day, or I was at the bus stop the other day, and you think, well, no, you weren't. You're just using this as a setup for a joke. And in the same way, so many of my videos start with, I was talking to someone the other day, or I had this thought while I was out and about. And it just sounds so contrived, but I assure you that what I'm about to talk about did come off the back of a genuine conversation I had with someone very recently. So what I want to talk about today is how the financial devastation you may have caused yourself through gambling addiction can be maybe, used as a positive catalyst towards a more successful recovery and, more importantly, a more fulfilling future. Just want to say hi, hope you're keeping safe, hope you're keeping sane. My name's Phil, if you're new around here. If you're not new around here, thank you for clicking on this video and for your ongoing support, whether that be liking, subscribing, commenting, doing all that great stuff. Or of course, there will be a Patreon link in the description below. Supporting me on Patreon helps to support me making more videos, hopefully making the videos of better quality, reaching more people, helping more people, and actually committing more of my own time to not only YouTube or Patreon, but to helping people maybe in the wider community, getting face-to-face with people in the future, and offsetting the need to earn money to keep a roof over my head and support my family. So anyone who chooses to support me in that way, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. If you just want to support me doing the great YouTube stuff, just hit like or subscribe to the channel, and that's much appreciated. If you have watched a lot of my videos historically, you'll hear me bang on about how the most substantial losses we experience as a result of our addictions aren't the financial losses. They are obviously the most immediate, the most apparent symptom of a gambling addiction. However, the biggest losses I truly believe that we experience from this addiction are losses of relationships, losses of opportunities in life, and most importantly of all, losses of our time. We only have one opportunity on this earth, and, well, I believe so. Obviously, different religious beliefs may believe otherwise. And I don't want to get all sort of preachy and whatever, but it is a dawn of realisation I have from time to time that actually the chances of me being here, as I'm sure you've heard people talk about before, is incredibly minute. Billions and trillions and quadrillions to one, right? Of me being here on this earth, getting to live this life. And I do have this thought, and I do actually have to force myself to have this thought sometimes, because it is that realisation of just how fortunate we are that made me so committed to not only not wasting another day of my life, but also helping other people to not waste any more of theirs. Because what we have, this precious resource we have of life itself and of time on this planet, is something that we shouldn't take for granted. It is something we need to embrace and we need to rediscover by ridding ourselves of these time-consuming addictions. Now, all that hairy-fairy preachy stuff out the way, right? It's totally remiss to ignore the fact that gambling causes catastrophic financial implications. If you're watching this, you're probably skint. Maybe you haven't got any money or food to last you the rest of the month, right? And there's no way I can put a positive slant on that. But I was talking to a guy the other day who'd recently got divorced. Bear with me, there was logic in this. And he was telling me how much that divorce had cost him, both in lawyers' fees, solicitors, and the fact he'd lost half the house, he'd had to sell the house, lost one of the cars, and, huge, huge financial impact. And I was like, so sorry to hear that, mate. I'm sure, you get back on your feet. And he was living in a rented flat and stuff. And he said, no, it's fine. He said, because it's an exit tax. Exit tax was the term he used, and that's what stuck with me, because I've heard it before. But it was this use of it that made me, jot it down on my phone and my notepad and want to talk about it in this video. And it's very true. In the same way that his divorce, which got him out of a toxic relationship, yes, we use that word toxic these days apparently, got himself out of a bad relationship which was of no benefit to him, was actually keeping him from achieving the things in life that he wanted to truly achieve, to be the person he truly wanted to be. That relationship was trapping him and stopping him from achieving his actual ambitions and his actual goals and the things he really wanted from life. So to pay this money, and that's all it was, ultimately, it was money, it was a financial penalty, it was a tax on his escapism from this prison of this marriage, of this relationship. And he called it an exit tax, and he was more than happy to pay it. So this got me thinking about gambling. A lot of the time, our recoveries come off the back of a single instance. They come off a particularly bad experience. Now, whilst this might not always be directly financial, it normally would have financial implications. Maybe you've lost the rent money, you can't pay it, argue with the wife. All right. Maybe you were supposed to attend a big family birthday, but you spunked all your money, and now you haven't got the money to put petrol in the car or get the bus or the train to wherever it was you're supposed to go. Right. Most of the problems we cause ourselves, although maybe not directly financial, can be attributed in some way to financial or time losses through gambling. So if you just had an excessive financial hit through gambling, maybe think of it as an exit tax. Think of that charge as the last lesson you've had to learn in order to rid yourself of this prison of addiction and put yourself onto the right path. This is only going to be true, of course, if you use this as a catalyst for recovery. If you want to get into recovery, if you want to stop gambling, not need, but want. And if you can do that, and if you can harness that, and if you can use this as motivation, particularly whilst that feeling of loss is so strong, if you can use this as a means to harness the motivation to put blocks in place, to put measures in place, to talk to people, to maybe get counselling, go to a GA meeting, but like I say, get the practical stuff in place first, blocks on accounts, blocks with gambling providers, all that sort of stuff, right? If you can use this latest financial catastrophe as a means by which to start a recovery and ultimately get yourself onto a path to a better life and put yourself on a path to be the person you actually need to be or want to be, or to be that person who is going to embrace this incredible opportunity we have just by existing on this planet. If you are putting yourself into a position where you can start to work towards, not achieve immediately, because like I say, we might be in a bit of a hole, but work towards actually achieving what we want from life, to experience the things we want to do the things we want to do, maybe to change careers, get into a more fulfilling relationship, build better friend groups, basically not waste another day on this planet as far as is possible. If you want to get yourself onto that path, then this exit tax from gambling could be the best money you've ever spent. There might be people who go through their lives with what we would consider a relatively low-level gambling addiction, people who can afford it but spend a lot of their spare money on it, and it traps them in this open prison for their entire lives. You can find yourself in this tiny prison where it's destroying your life and it's destroying you financially. But if we can use that exit tax as a way to break free, smash through the bars of this proverbial psychological prison and get ourselves onto a path of recovery and onto a path to a better, more fulfilling and more satisfying life, and it's all going to be money well spent. In the same way as my mate was saying, he doesn't care about the loss of the house or the fact he's going to have to live in a much smaller place and he's lost a car and he's lost loads of money out of his bank. He doesn't care because he's free. And he's free from something that was ultimately suppressing him and stopping him from achieving and stopping him from enjoying life and being the person he was meant to be. The biggest loss from gambling is time and opportunity. We know that. So the use of money, which is a transient thing we just use to throw about and buy, to be cliched, working hard to buy stuff we don't need to impress people we don't like or something like that, right? We can rid ourselves of that transient transactional medium of money in order to better ourselves in the long term and actually set ourselves on our path to a truer version of ourselves. Money will always come back. Yes, maybe we're heavily in the red right now and we need to build our way out of that. It might take years. But all those years that you're repaying that and getting back towards financial parity, every other facet of your life will be setting itself on course to fulfill your time on this earth in the most satisfying, pleasurable way possible. We can get onto our deathbeds and think, actually, you know what, yes, there was that black time in our lives, however long that be, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, however long that dark spot in our lives has been because of our addictions, we can look back on that and go, yeah, I wasted those years, but look at what I achieved afterwards. Look at what I was able to do. Look at the places I saw, the things I did, the relationships I built, the hobbies I did, the things I ticked off my bucket list. And all for what? A few £100, a few grand, whatever it is that you've just lost. that's quite a small price to pay, I think. Stay safe and stay sane, everyone. Like I say, Patreon link in the description below. There'll be additional content on there. Thanks to everyone who supports me that way. It really does help. And yeah, I'm not begging, but it really does help me to spend more time doing this and helping people. Someone said recently that I've started to come across a little bit preachy since I took a break from alcohol. I do see that this video may have come across a little bit preachy. It's only what goes on in my own head. It's only the realisations I force myself to have all the time in order to not only not get down about my time and money wasted in my past, but also to attempt to keep myself on a half-decent track for the future. So it is just my experience and my opinions. I'm not telling you what to do. You live your life exactly how you want to, and I wish you all the happiness in whatever you choose. Take care, everyone. All the best.